Hey guys, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you guys are. I hope you're having a really, really good day. Today's Sunday, which means it's build stream time. And today we're going to do something we haven't done for a long, long time. We're going to build a duck board. Now, I can't remember the last time I built a duck board on stream. I think it would have been a duck viper. That must have been 4 years ago now. It must be 4 years since I built one of these boards. So I'm pretty excited for it. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Anarchy got first, as always. He said, "Evening, Jay. I hope you're having a good weekend. Nice. It's going to be a nice build." Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this this duck board. I'll show you guys the details of it shortly, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to build this together and see how it turns out. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. We've also got Dematax here as well. He says third. You were actually second, dude, but thank you very much. Anarchy said just subscribed. I had to wait a week to do this. Thank you very much, Anarchy. I really, really appreciate the subscription there, and it means a lot to me and keeps me going as well. Will, thank you so much for the subscription for 2 months as well. He says keep making me spend money. Always keep an eye on the store. There's always new stuff coming. And Storesness as well. They've subscribed for 3 months on a 3-month streak. He says Sunday fun day with a beard. Indeed, yeah, my beard's all trimmed and it's nicely neat and tidied up now. And my hair's cut as well. You can't really see it with the background, but I promise my hair is somewhat trimmed and somewhat neater than it was. Hence no hat because hair's trimmed and hair's cut. So yeah, it's gonna be a good stream today. Gonna be a good stream. Zakiri is here as well. Hello, Mr. J. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Excited for something launching in a couple of days. Feel free to shill it in chat if you'd like. But thank you very much, guys. That has taken us into a hype train as well. So if you do want to see us get through the hype train, open up some more of those emotes and things like that. You can gift subs, or drop bits or whatever else. You don't have to, but it's very much appreciated when you do. Unusual, thank you very much for being here. He says evening as well. Thank you very much for being here. So yeah, Golden Ratio, Rexathon, and Oh My Young here as well. Charlie B, thank you so much for the subscription, man. Subscribe with Prime, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think that takes us into the next level of the train. Did someone say GMK Retro Trip coming 27th of July? Well, they just did. They just did. There you go. That's how it goes on this stream. Okay, well that's level 1 of the hype train done. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now we're into level 2. Let's see how far we can get up there. Enemy's friend says, hey yo, any quick hot take on Modo Lights? Seen a lot of people selling those. I put it on the Ayla last week, and you know what? I actually really like it. I actually like it that much that I have 2 sets of it. So I've got another brand new and open set here as well. I kind of like Modo Light. I think it looks good. Slightly different to the renders, but I really like it. So my hot take is, it's a solid set. Zakiria, thank you so much for the Prime subscription as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And VCTO as well with the Prime subscription. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. We're almost through level 2 of the hype train. I think this is the first hype train Prototypes has had in a long time, actually. So thank you very much for that, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Mythical M says, hey man, good to see you. Socialite says, there's 5 other Keep streams right now. Did you ever imagine the hobby getting this big? I remember when streamers made an effort to not overlap stream times. Dude, that's such a thing. Like back in 2017, there was like 2016 even, when I first started streaming, there was like 4 or 5 people who was keyboard streaming. I think I was like the 3rd one to do it on a regular basis, doing builds and stuff. Everyone else was just ad hoc. And I remember speaking to Nathan Kim about it. Tehe types himself, myself, and the guys at Top Clack as it was back then, which would have been Quakums and Huey. And I was only the only real person streaming on this side of the Atlantic. It was kind of a weird time, and there was no Apries, there's no Gaffs, there's no Mintlodicas. That all came after, and we did used to make sure that we weren't stepping on each other's toes. Like I'd email Nathan and say, when are you going to be streaming this week? And he's like, oh, I'm thinking Tuesday night. I was like, right, I'll do Thursday, whatever. It was a really interesting time. We did used to try and stream either directly after each other or when neither of the other people were streaming. That of course you can't do anymore. There's so many people streaming these days, but yeah, it's a huge thing. Dang Dynasty, thank you so much for the sub. He says subscribes for 3 months on a 3-month streak. He says, Jay, I hope you like the new Bingsu cap. Thank you very much. Yes, I did. It's not going to be on this build, unfortunately, because something didn't arrive for the build that I wanted to use it for, but it is on its way as the build, so, or the parts for it are, so it should be very, very soon when we see Bingsu build. let's catch up with chat. Alana Finley says, so we all love cubes, but what mouse is that? This is a, hold on, if I hold it up to the camera, it's a Logitech MX Master 3. It's a little bit grubby, I apologise, I use it daily. I have 2 of these actually. I have one here in the office and have exactly the same mouse outside in the workshop as well, because we've got multiple machines here so we don't have to cart them around, which is good. Singapore says sup. Sup. 3D printers are on vacation too. Do you know what? They just finished earlier on. Let me set them going again. Because I just finished doing something on them earlier on. Let me get these going again. Okay, that's one printer going again. Let me get the second one going. Come on. Okay, there you go. That's both printers going. So I actually have an app called Telegram on my phone, and that enables me to set jobs going or not. Basically, I can just message the printers from wherever I am, and it just starts the print jobs and stuff, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we go. The printers will be running in a second. You'll see them start to do all of their stuff and everything else that they need to do in a few minutes. So thank you very much for pointing that out, really good. I meant to restart them after I'd cleared the stuff off them earlier on, but hey, it is what it is. And we're now into level 3 of the hype train as well, guys. So almost there. You've almost got me to the end of the hype train. Socialite says Vita build when it arrives. It should arrive this week, and I think it's scheduled for delivery on Tuesday or Wednesday. So if it arrives this week, I might build it this week coming, so a week today, or if not, it'll be the week after. It really depends on what stuff arrives, because I want to do my Bingsu build quite soon, so it really depends. So yes, I have got a Vita. It hasn't arrived yet. It will be here soon. It's the McFlurry colorway, and I'm pretty excited for it. I love Matrix boards. Like, if you guys haven't seen Matrix boards, go check them out, because they're so cool these days. I've actually bought like 3 in the past month, because some of the affectations on them are really cool. The only bad board I've ever had off Matrix was the Noah, and I just didn't like that, but I love the looks, I love the aesthetic, I like the finishings on it, just didn't like the sound profile. I need another screw in there, but yeah. Are you going to build a Matrix ME? If I can get hold of one, yes, absolutely. If I can get hold of a Matrix ME, I full-time will, 100% will build one. If I can get one. I need to get one. That's the thing. Zachary says, don't want to be mean, but retired and communicating via Telegram. Yeah, so I didn't actually use Telegram in the UK, in the industry. It's not that big a deal. It's WhatsApp over here, which is kind of now owned by Facebook, but everyone used to use WhatsApp here in the UK. Telegram, I literally just use for a few bots that I have running on different servers. So Mech Market, what else do I use? The two printers, and I've got some other bits and pieces for like home automation that runs on there as well. So yeah. What else have we got? Captain Ladies Man says, Jay, how excited for you are the JO1 or everyone coming soon? Dude, I keep following the ship every single day. So if you guys did buy a JO1 and you're interested in seeing where the ship is that's got them on, you can follow that. If you go to the updates tab at the top of the Prototypist website, you'll be able to go into the updates. From there, you'll see a link at the bottom to the Notion web pages. And if you go through there, find the JO1 on the list, it will actually give you a tracking link so you can see the ship in real time that the JO1s are on its way to port in the UK. It's just south of the Suez Canal right now, or it was earlier on when I looked. So yeah, just off the coast of Egypt, I think. But yeah, we'll see. It's in the Red Sea. Shouldn't be too long. Just got to go through all of Europe now and up the Mediterranean. So yeah, we'll see. Unusual, yes, if I can get a Matrix ME, I will build one. Rambo says, first time viewer here, love your setup. Can I ask a big old noob keycap question? You can ask any question you would like. Yes, of course, you can ask a question. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, guys, for helping me get to level 2 of the hype train. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Choo choo, yeah. Mythical M says, I'm very new to the hobby. Ordered Icky Aurora 68 through you. I've also ordered GMK set, which is another year away. Do you have any recommendations on where I can get some nice cap sets in the UK? So I will have more in-stock stuff soon. I'm just waiting on it being delivered. There's also UK keycaps. There is also mech boards that have keycaps coming as well. Protozoa Studio sometimes do as well. There's a few different vendors here in the UK, and they're all good people, so definitely check them out. Everyone doing choo choo with a little hype ooh emote. There we go. Rambo says, what makes the GMK cap so popular? I was under the impression that PBT was superior to ABS. I don't think either's superior to the other. Like, they've both got pros and cons. PBT is more hard wearing, but you can't have as bright colors in PBT. So if you want bright colors and you want fancy bright keycaps, you need to use ABS. And PBT keycaps can't really be double shot easy. There's a lot of PBT keycaps out there that claim they are PBT double shot keycaps, but that's not really true. There are PBT keycap that have been laser etched and then had the etch filled with another plastic like POM. So there's only one part PBT and the rest of them is a different plastic. So I don't like that sometimes. Now there are some true double shot 2-part PBT keycaps out there. Leopold makes some amazing ones. I just wish they'd do them publicly. They don't. But if you want true double shot keycaps, ABS is kind of the only way you can do it. And the reason for that is because PBT, when you actually bake it, so you pour molten plastic into a mold, and it's a bit like if you ever did an Airfix kit. The keycaps come off these Airfix kit like strips, and they've got all of the piping around them. They're called sprues. They take them off. When you do that with PBT, it actually shrinks as it cools. So what happens is if you've got the letters inside a keycap, they'll start off nice and tight like that when it's warm, but then as it cools, they'll expand and they'll pull away from each other, and sometimes the double shot can fall out. So there's a high failure rate with double shot PBT, and that's why what they do is they do a PBT keycap as a solid block. They'll let it cool, it'll expand a little bit, then they'll laser etch in the logo, and then they'll fill it with a different molten plastic that melts at a low temperature. So that's why they do that. It's just a weird quirk of chemical processes, I guess. PBT keycaps are more prone to warping, right? They are. It's the cooling process, especially on the long. If you imagine that you've got a long bar and it cools, as it cools, it can just curl or bend or bow, and it just depends on how it cools. Like, it's just a quirk of manufacturing again. But yeah, like, you can fix them. You can pin them down on a hot surface and keep them pinned whilst they cool down naturally, and that will help. So 3D print bases are good for that kind of stuff. You can see the 3D printers are going now as well, just in the bottom corner down here. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah. The feel of laser etch PBT keycaps is just not for me. You can physically feel the legends on there. Yeah, which is why PBT keycaps tend to be die sub, which is where you're basically heat printing on top of the PBT and transferring a die into the PBT in just those areas. But that's why PBT die sub tends to have a little bit of bleeding around the edge, because it is just dye. It's basically like a paint that's heated on, and it's printed on just like most printers print on paper. It's a very similar process when you look at it. What about shine? I've got an old Philco and Das keyboard, and all the keycaps have gotten super shiny. Does that just come with the territory? Any keycap's going to shine over time. PBT will still shine, it just takes longer than ABS. GMK keycaps, do they shine? Yes, they do. With heavy usage, they will shine. Sometimes shine looks good though. It really depends on the set, and it depends on how you use it and how the shine wears in. But it's one of the trade-offs. It's one of the downsides to having ABS keycaps. So the upside is you can have all these bright colors. It's easier to double shot, and you can have these really fantastic colorways. But the downside is that they will shine quicker than PBT keycaps will. So it's all about trade-offs. It's all about what you prefer more on which side of the argument, basically. But most people like GMK keycaps because they're probably the best processed keycaps from end to end. The quality on them is probably higher than anywhere else right now, which is why they're also so expensive. A bit like people love patina on leather, I guess. Thanks for the info. Yeah, no worries. Ask away. Any questions? I'll try and answer them. I saw that some people intentionally shine their keycaps using alcohol. Yeah, I'd advise against doing that. If you're going to shine keycaps, whether they're PBT or ABS, I would really recommend not doing it with alcohol or any other solvent. I recommend doing a small polishing compound paste. Toothpaste actually works really well for this. If you get some toothpaste, slather it all over your keycaps and then just polish it with a nice cloth, that will work really well. Or you can put like a polishing compound on the end of a Dremel, rotary Dremel, and you can just polish each keycap as well. That will also work. Again, do it at your own risk. I'm not, telling you to do this. I'm not trying to give you any tips on how to do it. I'm just saying it's possible. Try it at your own risk, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying. Zombie's here as well. Thank you very much, Zombie. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Okay, how about we switch over to the other camera view and I start to show you what we're going to build today. Okay. So today we are going to be building my Duck Orion. I bought this and forgot I bought it off a friend called Tom. So Tom, if you're watching this, thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. But today we're going to be building it with tangerines. These are in stock on the site. Big shell. You can go buy tangerines on the site right now if you want to. They're like 48p a switch or something like that, including VAT. These are the 67-gram version. They are unlubed. They are stock and factory. These have not been tweaked, changed, modded in any way, shape or form. They are the 67-gram version, so the slightly heavier version of the switch. But there we go. These are tangerines. So there we go. That's what we're going to be using today for the build. This is actually all of the spare ones for the bags that split during shipping time. But there we go. You bought some tangerines earlier. Thank you so much, Enma. I'm just going to call you Enma. Thank you so much, Enma, for shopping on the store. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. So that's the switches we're going to build today. Later on, you guys are going to help me choose some keycaps once you've seen the board and the board's been built. There will be a choice, and you guys will get to choose between GMK Dolch. If it focuses, there we go. You'll get to choose between that and GMK 9s. GMK 9009 round 2. And also my second set of GMK Modern Dolch Light. So this is another unsealed set. Sorry, sealed set. It's not unsealed yet. It's another sealed set. So those are the choices of keycaps that you guys are going to get to make later on. Don't worry about it now. Let's see how the board's built. I'll put up a poll. You guys can pick towards the end. Oh, why is the giveaway doing that? Oh, it's doing two things. So Stream Elements is telling you that there's no giveaway. There is a giveaway. You can see it on Nightbot. Go buy the Nightbot one. If you pop over to my Instagram, you'll see that I've picked up a new truck. It's a Datsun 521. It needs a name, so feel free to try and name it. The best name will win a prize. Whether I select that name for the truck or not, that name will win a prize. The current name that's winning, based on the sticker on the back of the truck, is Hot Drop, but go check it out and you can have a look and see what you think. The winner will get like a big bundle of switches, a couple of desk mats, whatever goodie stuff I can find lying around in the workshop on the given day. We're going to pick it tomorrow night, I think. My wife's going to help me pick that tomorrow night. In terms of the board today, we're going to build with a polycarbonate plate. This is just a nice standard polycarbonate plate. That's what we're going to use, nice and flexible. Pretty standard. We have the PCB that comes with the board. This is an O2D PCB, which means it doesn't run on QMK or VIA. It runs on O2D software, but it's the version 4.1 PCB. Is USB-C, which is good. We're going to build with this. We'll see how it goes. If it doesn't really work for the board, then we'll rebuild the board with a Heine PCB, because I'm expecting the Heine PCBs to be arriving shortly. And then we have the board. So this is the board here. This is how it came. I need to unwrap it. It's red, as you can see. We'll have a proper look at the color in a minute. And then here's the base, which is basically just a big triangle of aluminium. I don't have the weight for it, but I'm going to get one made in carbon fiber. We're going to measure all this up. We're going to recreate it in CAD. We'll cut one in POM first to see that it fits. And then we'll either make one in wood for this, or we'll get one in carbon fiber made. We'll see. Yeah. So let's take the board apart and have a look. Let's unwrap it and see what we have. Alana Finley says, Datsun JDM goodness. Yeah, I have quite a few JDM cars these days. Too many, my wife would say. I'd say not enough. Okay, I'm just going to take this piece off here. This is one of the diffusers, and it's just stuck down with some sticky tape. So I'm just going to take that off. Also got a bag full of screws, which we'll tip out into this tray here. There we go. And then we'll unwrap the board. What's your opinion on POM plates? If you watch my last week's build stream, I actually built the Ayla with a POM plate. I kind of like them. POM's a good material for a plate. It's nice and flexible without being too bouncy. It's easy to produce. I make them here in my workshop. I'll be opening a service for cutting custom POM plates in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually going to see a new laser manufacturer tomorrow, so might be some more news on that. Watch tomorrow on the Insta stories, because there could be some really interesting stuff to show you guys there, if I'm allowed to film. I haven't asked this yet, but I'm hoping that I'll be allowed to record at least some elements of my trip to the factory I'm visiting tomorrow. We'll see. I don't like it when keyboards come wrapped in saran wrap like this, because it's just almost impossible to get off at times. Especially when they put knots in like that. There we go. This is the top of the case. This is the red. It's a pretty nice red, right? You can see here it's got the LED slots. If it focuses. Come on, camera, please. Camera, come on, focus. There we go. LED slots just here. It's also got some LED slots across here as well. I'm not going to put any LEDs in it today. There we go, you can see them now. I'm not going to put any LEDs in it today, but we'll see how the build goes, and the LEDs might get added at a later date. We'll see. I'm not 100% certain on what I want to do with them yet. It's a clean red. Yeah, it's a really nice red. Now let's unwrap the base and take a look at this piece. Do you like the sound of FR4 plateless half plates? No, yes, and depends. FR4 I'm not really a big fan of as a plate material. I think it sounds a bit too loud. I think if you're going to go in that direction, carbon fibre is better, but that's just my personal view. Plenty of people agree or disagree with me on that. In terms of half plates, it really depends on the keyboard. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I thought it was really good on the Prophet. I didn't like it much, particularly on my Equinox. But I did build that plateless in the end, and I do like a plateless build. So, yeah, I think the answer to that is it really depends on the board. And here's the base. You see we've got these nice polycarb diffusers in here as well. It's a lovely red. I'm a big fan of this red. I can't see any defects in the anodization. When they were running the group buy for this, they did say that there might be some defects in the red and grey units. I can't see anything that I would class as a defect on here. Everything looks really good. Zakir says, I have no idea how a half plate works. Is it just a plateless build? Yeah, okay, so I can show you. So, this is a standard plate, right? A half plate means that you'd have plates around, so say it's a 60%, just ignore that and ignore everything above these lines here, right? So just pretend it's the 60% area. A half plate would have a plate around all of the numero, have a plate around all of the modifiers on the left hand side, have plate around all of the keys along here, and all of the keys up the right hand side as well. What it would be then do is it'd just be one big open gap across all of the alpha keys. So all of the stuff that's in the middle here, that would be all gone, and you just put the switches into the PCB. So the idea is that you would have a different typing experience on the alphas compared to the mods, because the alphas wouldn't have any support material around them. I hope that helps. Arichi's here as well. He says, hey Jay, hey man, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, so now we've seen the colour. I'm really a big fan of this colour actually. It's much nicer than I was expecting it to be. When I've had a couple of red boards in the past, and I only tend to really like them if they're this like kind of wine red colour, which is a lot deeper and darker and more burgundy. But do you know what? I actually kind of dig this red. It's kind of good. I am a little bit gutted that I picked tangerines for this build though now. I think they're going to slightly clash in terms of colour. Oh well. Oh well. Just go, Zach. No worries. I'll try and remember that. You like my latte art? Thank you. I did it myself. I'm not usually very good at latte art, but sometimes it comes out alright. Sometimes. Okay. First things first, I am going to put the feet on this before I keep sliding it around the desk. I'm terrible at it, usually unusual. But sometimes I get lucky, right? Sometimes I just have a good day and I end up being a little bit luckier with my latte art. Okay, so we're just going to push the feet in. I'm not really a big fan of these feet. I think injection molded feet would be better. These are die cut foam. I'm not really a fan of that. Like, these are compressible. I'm not really a fan of that. Give me some silicone feet usually, I think, but I'm not even sure what type of foam these are. But they're kind of soft and squishy. You're not really a fan of that. Okay, last foot to go on. There is a giveaway running. Use the Nightbot command. I don't know why Stream Elements is doing that, but there is a giveaway running. Winner gets picked tomorrow by my wife. There we go. Still not seeing any flaws on the anodization that I was warned to watch out for. Looks pretty good. There is actually some mill marks that we can see that are just here. I'm not sure if these are going to show up on camera, but there is some mill marks just there. They're like vertical lines coming off. They're very, very faint, but they are there. They kind of run up this area here. That's just dust in there. There's a slight dint under here where the weight goes. But yeah, overall it's okay. It's a little bit patchy here is the anodization as well. I'm not sure if this is going to show on camera. I'll try. There's like a little patch here. Can you see where it's got some straight lines? The color's not quite the same. Overall, I think it's pretty solid though. I don't think it's the worst anodization job I've seen. I've no idea how easy it was to see that on stream either, by the way. Okay, now we've got that part together, we can put that to one side. In fact, the next thing we can do is we can just peel off the protective backing on this diffuser. That's one side. I'm just going to peel off the protective backing on the other side. This is just laser cut acrylic, frosted acrylic. 1.5 mil by the feel of it. I'm just going to lay that back on there, on the case there, ready for when we put the board together. Nice. Okay, so that's that done. Put the top case on there as well. Now it's time to put the board together itself. Tom's here, how's it going? This is the Tom that I bought this off, so say hi to Tom, guys. Okay, so there's the PCB. I'll get the plate ready as well, and then it's time to do some stabilizers. Gotta love doing some stabilizers. Okay, standard polycarbonate plate. Looks fairly okay. It looks like this has been water cut. This looks like it's been water jet cut, not milled. The reason I say that is because a lot of the edges are actually quite rough. Like where my thumb is here, like a lot of the curves are quite rough on this, and there's a lot of sprue marks and missed bits. This isn't what I would exactly call the best quality cut plate that I've seen. You can also see that instead of being square, the holes in this PCB, in this plate, they actually have, it's not going to focus, they actually have like rounded off corners, which is a quirk of the way it's been manufactured. I really do think this has been water cut. And that's just where the stream's gone to, as water, like as it's had a jet of water cutting it, it's instead of doing a square, it's just gone a little bit further past and come back. And it's ended up with these slightly elongated corners. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that, but hey, let's see how the build goes. We'll try it first. Next thing is to get some stabilizers and lube them up. I don't. The Heine H87C should work there. Yeah, I think what we might do is we might recut another plate out of POM and do a rebuild with a Heine PCB later on, Tom. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Do I use XHTBDZ on my stab wires? No, I don't. I tend to use just Krytox 205 grade 2, and the reason for that is because I don't want to spend the extra money on the more expensive stuff for very little gain. Okay, so today we're going to build this in ISO layout, which means that we need a stabilizer for backspace, and for enter, and for full right shift, and for the 7U spacebar as well, because this is a winkeyless build. So we've got a 7U spacebar wire, we've got a wire for our backspace, we need a wire for our ISO enter, and then we need a wire for our full right shift. Just going to get some housings out now. We need 8 of these. And then we need 8 inserts as well. There we go, that should be everything we need from that sub. Okay, so let's get these put together. And then we'll start to lube our stabilizers. Yeah, I've tried the XHT BDZ a few times. I just don't think it's worth the extra cash based on how good 205 grade 2 is, which is a little bit thicker than the standard grade 0 anyway. Like, I just don't feel like it's worth triple the cost just for stabilizers. But that's just my view. People are allowed to have different opinions. I'm not going to hold you to that ideal. Okay. Okay, let's start with the 7U spacebar wire. I'm just going to get a little bit of lube and we're going to put it on the wire. Now remember guys, it's always easy to add more lube later on than it is to take it away, so don't go too mad with your lubricant when you're putting it on your stabilizers or your switches or whatever you're lubing up. It's always easy to add more later on. Unless you're working on cars, in which case put more on. We're just going to lube up both sides of the wire here, make sure we've got a good coating on. Then we're going to take a housing and we're just going to slide that into the housing. Whoops. Making sure we go into the lower hole. There we go. I'm going to repeat that on the other side now. Okay. Rexon says, how similar is the lube used in cars and stuff we use on keyboards? Depends on what the lube's being used for in the car, to be quite honest with you. Dielectric grease used in fair few places, or I do typically. But most of the grease is like wheel grease and stuff like that. It's just very, very different. Like, it's a lot thicker, it's a lot gloopier, it gets everywhere, and it's a nightmare to clean. Like, it's really bad. Like, axle grease, man, that stuff just, get it in your clothes, ruins them. This just washes out to an extent. Like, put some good detergent on this and you'll get it out of your clothes quite easily. Axle grease, no chance. Okay, once we've done all of the wires, we've inserted them into the housings, we will go back and we will lube the slider rails. But we're just slowly taking our time here, making sure we're getting good coverage without putting quite too much on. BDZ, don't you mean Z? Very funny. Yeah, I think it depends on where you're from, right? Like I just call it Z because I call the Datsun the Z because that's just how they're colloquially known. So I think that's where I picked it up from. But yeah, Z would be the correct UK way of saying it. But hey, as long as we can all understand each other, it's fine. It's fine. Do I normally use loop switches? Quite often I will use loop switches. Whoops. Normally I get my friend Matt the Pokemon Kid to do my looping for me because I just don't have the time these days to do it. So he normally loop switches for me. Usually I send him 1,000 switches or so. He'll loop them all for me and send them back. Most of my builds have loop switches in. It just depends, like whether the build's been planned or if it's like this one, it's just done because something else hadn't quite arrived yet. Like what I planned to build today wasn't ready. So yeah, that one would have had loop switches in. This one doesn't because it was a little bit more rough and ready to stream in terms of deciding what board we were going to build and pulling all the build together. BDZ sounds so weird to me for some reason. Yeah, I get that. BDZ, BDZ, doesn't really matter. Whatever. It's the same thing. It's the same picture, right? I didn't realize other Keebs were car people. Yeah, I have like 10 cars, nearly 9 cars. I like my cars. Cars are my biggest hobby apart from keyboards, I think. In fact, there's no think about it. I know they are. Speaking of which, go and check the giveaway out on Instagram. All you need to do is follow me and suggest a new name for the new truck. And if I pick your name, you win a goodie bag. Simple as that. Nice and easy. Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II, Mom, thank you very much for being here, Your Highness. Says, have you joined the Space 80 Apollo group? I haven't. No, I haven't. I don't have a reason as to why I haven't. I just haven't. Okay, so now we're just going to pop a little bit of lube in the back of each stabilizer where the wire pokes through. And then once we've done that, we're going to lube the sides of the sliders. Just make sure there's a nice coverage on there. We're not trying to gum this up, remember. We're just trying to make sure there's a nice thin layer on to make it easier to move. And that's the first one done. So as we complete these, we'll put them in the board. This one's going to go in our backspace slot. And we'll screw them in a few minutes' time. There we go. Anything to satisfy that midlife crisis, eh? I've been collecting cars since, like, I don't know. I've had over 50 cars in my life, so it's always been a thing for me. I just don't need to sell them as often these days as I used to do. So at one point, if I wanted a new car, I had to sell something just to afford it. These days, I'm lucky enough to be in a position where that's not always the case. So, yeah. This one's going to be our ISO enter stabilizer. Just pop that into place. We'll finish it off in a second. Disappointed to see you weren't running it on your site as a single global seller. Yeah, that often happens sometimes, and that's fine if people want to run it on their own sites and they don't want to use proxies. That's completely valid and an absolute true way of doing it. I didn't have worldwide proxies for the JO1, for example, and I won't do for the JO2 Blackout. It'll all be on Prototypist. It just depends on how you want to manage manufacturing and how easy you want a job when it comes to shipping as well. Okay, just a 7U space bud scope. I have good taste in old Japanese cars. I have a few, so yeah, if you want to know more about that, then let me know. Okay, once we've done this stabilizer, before we screw them in, I'm just going to have some more coffee because I'm really thirsty. I am going to be the UK proxy for the Wii 65, apparently. Yes, unusual. That is going to happen, as far as I'm aware. We've been talking about it a little bit, so as far as I'm aware, that's still on and still happening, unless something's changed. There we go. Okay, so that's all the stabilizers lubed and in the board. We'll screw them in just 1 minute. Gotta love some good coffee. Looks like the printers are hard at work now as well. Let's just make sure they're doing all right. Looks fine. And that looks fine too. Semidodge says, what is the length of the JL1? It's just slightly less than a TKL. I'd have to double check the measurements. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. I have to double check that. Either that or if James AKB is watching, he'll be able to give you the answer. Okay, time to screw these stabilizers in. Good coffee is life. We had a natural processed Ethiopian this morning. I made it as an iced filter brew and it was heaven. That sounds good. That sounds really good. Prototype is coffee when? I don't think I'd do a coffee. I'm not like Kiko. I don't think I'd have the ability to do a good coffee like that. The US market is way bigger than the UK market, and I wouldn't want to be shipping coffee internationally because it'd just be crap by the time it got there. So guys, remember when you're screwing in stabilizers, you don't want to go too tight with them. You're not trying to crush the PCB. You just want to hold them in place nicely. Tea instead of coffee. Do I watch any of James Hoffman's videos? Yeah, on occasion I will do, yeah. It really depends on whether he's got any content out that I'm interested in or not. But yeah, I do quite often watch his stuff. Tea instead of coffee. Do you know I'm not a tea drinker? I don't really drink tea. Like I have it ever so occasionally. Like I'm talking like 2 or 3 cups a year maybe. I prefer like mint tea, I think, to standard tea. Like just standard black tea. I prefer Indian too. Sorry, I prefer mint tea to that. But yeah, like just standard Indian tea. I don't know. I don't drink it often enough to be able to tell you whether it was good, what I was selling was good or not. I don't think I'm really even enough of a coffee connoisseur to sell some coffee and say outrightly this is good coffee. I just like what I like and hope that people like it as well. Okay. Anti-tea tea club. I don't think I'm anti-tea. Like I drink mint tea every day if I could. I think like if it was there I'd drink it, but I don't know if I'd actively choose it over coffee if coffee's there. It's just preference, like all things. Yeah, for sure, of course it is. Okay, just 2 more screws to do now on the spacebar, and then we're done. And it's time for some switches. Don't even know what I'd call coffee if I did make some. J-O latte? I don't know. Like, what would you even call it? I swear I'm terrible at naming things. When the wife and I had kids, we gave up spending money on booze and switched over to craft coffee. Being in Portland, we had a ton of good options. It's been a fun hobby these past few years. That sounds like a good idea. That's good. That does sound good. My wife doesn't like coffee at all. In fact, the only hot drink she drinks is hot chocolate. She won't drink tea or coffee or anything really. So yeah, so I don't really have anyone to share it with like that. So Perhaps that's why I'm not massively up on it. But I do love good coffee. Like, coffee is the best way to start the day. I'm 100% certain of that fact. J.O. Brew. Love it. That'd be a great name for tea. Love it. Well done. You win the internet for today, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so stabilizers are in. We've got backspace, ISO enter, full right shift, and 7U spacebar. Let's see how these line up into the plate. Looks pretty solid. It's time to put some switches in. See how these hold up in this plate. I'm not a fan of this plate. I think it's been cut quite poorly. But we'll see how it holds up with some switches in. It might be okay. Oh man, this is going to be a painful day. These switches do not want to go into this PCB very easily. Let's get a few in the corners first. Have I got a board with a 10U spacebar? Probably. Oh man, look at this. Look at this. So this plate isn't cut right. This plate is not correct. This plate has some alignment issues because it's bowing out when I put the switches in at both sides. Interesting. Let's see how this goes. Let's try putting a couple in the center, and then we'll do the bottom switches as well. I think we'll be able to get away with it, but I don't think this plate's been cut particularly well. Yeah, so it doesn't want to hook onto the switches in the middle here. Look, can you see how it doesn't want to hook on? I think we can force it, but oh man, it really doesn't like this. Let's take one of these switches out. Trolley Cutie says Jay's only going to make 99 keyboards, otherwise he would have started with J001, the 00 series. Okay, so it's really hard to show you guys this, but can you see how there's a bulge out in the plate just here? Like, right? Like, the plate is too long. The plate is too long. It's not actually the correct width. So I'm going to have to actually rethink all of this and start in the center and work my way out. So unfortunately, this one you can't build plateless. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to start in the center and we're going to work our way out in a spiral pattern. The PCB is not warped. It's just the plate is too big. Like, it's too long. The tolerances are out. So it's probably like only 0.1 of a millimeter, but then every 10 switches you're getting 0.1 of a millimeter across. So by the time you've gone the whole thing across, you're talking 0.2 of a mil or 2 mil out, something like that. It doesn't sound like much, but it's tiny percentages. Oh man, this switch is stuck. Come on. Yeah, so we're going to have to start in the center and work our way out. But the switches get... Yeah, this isn't good. This is not good. Let's put the switches in 4 in the center first. And then let's see if we can get these aligned. Like, I think polycarb is soft enough that we can massage this into place over space and time, but... Well, let's see, shall we? Okay, that's those 4 in. The PCB is slightly tight. Yeah, the PCB is slightly tight as well. That's not helping the cause. Just going to take our time. We're going to get these in the right place. We're going to make sure that they clip into the plate and the PCB all the way around. But you can actually see it. Like, if you look here at this end, the gap between the plate and the switch pin is very different to on this side. I definitely think this is one of the downsides of water jet cutting. I just don't think it's accurate enough. If these have been milled as well, I don't know. Like I think that I'm pretty certain they've been water jet cut. But if these have been milled, I wouldn't have been happy with the job. Going to be interesting to see how it gets when we get to the edges. We'll see. You think you did well on the name for the Datsun? Oh no, should we have a look? Noachi? Is that you? Is that you, Alana? Noachi after Hachiroku from the AE86, but there's no hatch. Interesting. The Khaki Commando, the Slam Van, Olive Branch, Double D Dunked Datsun, Grace, Shop Drop, Oscar the Grouch, Agnes Crumplebottom. These are all names that we've had during the show suggested. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not sure. Unusual. I don't remember the name of that board, so I don't think so. But like, I have conversations with a lot of people regularly, so I may have forgotten, or I may know it under a different name or something. Okay, I'm just gonna get my little pry tool here, because I'm just noticing that the plate is starting to not want to stay up around these switches. Well, thank you very much for the suggestion, Alana. Thank you. It's a solid shout. So what we're having to do is having to actually lift the plate up the switches. This is so bad. I hope this board's worth it. Just got a slightly bent pin on this one. Just going to straighten it up with my little pry tool. There we go. Okay. I wonder if anyone else has had this issue with the plates from this board. I haven't really looked at the group by thread to see if it's like a common problem or not. It's looking okay so far though. We'll see how it is when we get to the edges. That's going to be the real test. Like, as we get closer to the edges, does the plate still hold onto the switches as well as it is doing here? Or does it start to become a little bit worse for wear? Is the lodestone in IC or is it being scrapped? It's still happening as far as I'm aware. It's something that Flex and I are working on together when we both have the time, which is few and far between at the moment. So I have working prototypes. They used to be on the wall behind me. They're not anymore, but I do have working prototypes. We've proven the concept. It does work. We just don't know where we're going to go next with it. I'm not sure when it'll happen or what at this stage. I'll try and sit down with Flex at some point soon and see if we can work out what the plan of attack is going to be. But we have working prototypes. We've invested money into the board, so I'd like to think it will happen at some point. I'd be very disappointed if we got this far and didn't finish the project. Because it's nearly 2 years since we started designing that board. It was late summer of 2019 when we started to design that board. Okay. Any news on the trays? Yeah, group buy soon. Next month, I think. Group buy next month. It's something I need to sort out with Tom this week. So yeah, soon. Soon. They're pretty soon actually. They're really soon. They're probably one of the next prototypist products we're going to run. So yeah, like just keep an eye out if you're interested in the trays. Hex trays, different colors. Yeah, they're good. The orange is so nice. Yeah, that's the orange from Lodestone. It's the same color orange. Okay, because that's feel the plate getting really difficult to get some of these switches in and keep it square and level now. Like it's just starting to bow up all sorts of interesting areas. Like you can see how it's further away here. It's not because it's bent, it's because it's bubbling away. Moves the Rides is here. Thank you very much for being here, man. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, dude. We are using Tenjis. Yeah, these are going to start shipping on Tuesday. I'm not in the office tomorrow, so there's going to be no shipping of anything tomorrow, sadly. But shipping will recommence on Tuesday. We'll have Mel here on Tuesday. She'll be shipping out products left, right, and center for us, making sure everyone gets all of their items as swiftly as possible. These are the dark green Tenjis. These are the dark green color. The light green ones have a mint green color stem. These are the dark ones. Paleo effects. Cheers. Thank you very much for the single bit there, dude. Thank you. So yeah, so they're not stock Tenjis. Sorry, these are completely stock Tenjis, but they're not the light Tenjis, the heavier Tenjis. 67 grams, I think these ones are. Ow. Man, having to lift this plate up is a real bummer. Oh man, it's just not going to hold into here, I don't think. To the space bar. Right. We're getting there now, guys. It's starting to get there. This plate is going to be the bane of me. I just know that some of the keys are not going to fit in here. I really don't want to have to adjust the plate live on stream with a, well, with a Stanley knife, I guess, because that's all I have to hand. Other brands of knife are available. This is kind of frustrating having to bend and adjust the plate on every single switch to get it into position. But we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. Whew. Oh no, here we go. This is where it's going to start to get really difficult. Okay, I'm going to lift this switch out. So what I'm trying to do here is just make sure that the plate is holding on to all of the switches that are pushed into place. That last one, it really didn't want to hold on to it, and the plate just sank. Because the plate's just slightly too long, like the holes are just slightly not at the right spots. It's only really slight, but it's there, it's noticeable. I think we're definitely going to have to do a rebuild of this board at some point with a different plate. 100% a different plate. I'll have to make one. Okay. It's really hard to show you, but the plate is just so... It's pushing, it's making the PCB sit bent. Like, it's really hard to show on stream, but it's making the PCB bend because it's basically pushing the switches out, so the whole thing is bowing in the middle. Monkers. Yeah, I know, right? We'll get there. We'll get there. Like, I think we can get it to fit, but whether I'm going to be happy with it, I don't know. This is a new one, Jeremy. I literally just got this in from someone who bought it in the group buy that just shipped, so whichever version that is. I assume that's a 3. It's whichever one shipped in the past couple of weeks, Jeremy. The red's really good. The red's really solid. The plate, however, is not the best. So it's cut slightly wrong, so the gaps between all of the different switch cutouts are just ever so slightly offset, and it means that over the course of the board I'm struggling to get the switches in. Okay, we're going to go with step caps because step caps is best. Okay. Of course, because we're going ISO, it's going to be split left shift. And then we know we've got the 1.5 U key here. And then we have a blocker and then the 1.5 U key. And that should be the 1.5 U key there. And then this should be the correct key just here as well. Okay, now we've just got the edge of the TKL cluster to go, and then we can check for bent pins, and then we can move on to soldering. The red's lovely, yeah. I'll show you up close in a few minutes, guys. When we start to put the thing into the case, you'll see. And this plate just does not want to fit on some of these switches. Yeah, this plate is just so out of alignment. The room is a vibe. Thanks, man. I assume that's a good vibe. I assume that's a compliment. I'm taking it as a compliment. Whether you meant it that way or not, I am taking that as a compliment. What you can't see is like all the rest of my office that's over that way. But I will take that as a compliment. Even if it was meant otherwise. Thanks, man. Thank you. You actually get to see more of it on my Insta stories. If you ever watch those, like, I share quite a lot of what happens up here at the workshop on there. Okay, this is going to be a tough one. I just know this is not going to want to sit in the plate here. Yeah. There we go. So almost there now, guys. Almost there. Just last 3 switches to go. AKB James, thank you so much for the 3 months of subs, man. I really appreciate that, dude. I hope you're doing well. James and I finally got to meet up this week for a coffee for the first time in like nearly 2 years with COVID, which is good. Right. Okay, so we managed to get everything in the plate. I am a little bit disappointed with this plate. So if you weren't here at the early part of the stream, the plate is cut and it's slightly off where it should be. So the gaps between switches ever so slightly, like 0.1 of a millimeter off. And basically this, if you put a switch in here, you can't put a switch in there. So what we've had to do is start in the middle and work out spiral ways to make sure we get all of the switches in place. But what that's done is actually put a bow in the PCB. The PCB is actually now bent at an angle to try and make sure that all of the switches in. Because what's happening is the switches are being pushed apart by the plate material in the middle. They've been pushed apart, and that pressure's got to go somewhere. So as they're being pushed apart, it's curving the PCB. So now the PCB sits on a curve, and I can actually slide stuff under the edge of it here without it touching the PCB. It touches there, but it goes under here, and that's because the PCB is at an angle. If I push it flat, it will go, but it's not the best. It's not the best. It does ideally need a replacement PCB. Ideally. Sorry, plate. But we'll get to that. We will do that in the near future. Charlie, thank you so much for the sub, man. Appreciate it, my dude. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Dotnik is here as well. Designer of GMK Lavender. Hey, man. Thanks for being here. Zui says it won't let me renew my sub with Twitch Gaming. It's alright, Zui. I just know you don't really care. I know that that's what it means. I'm joking. I'm joking. I know that Zui cares. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. Group buy soon, Nick. These are going to be available soon. Very soon in group buy. I heard both PCBs for all the rage these days. Is that true, Steelhand? If that's true, tell me where to go. Tell me where to go. Okay, now it's time to solder this all together before it pops apart. There we go. And what this means, guys, is, as always, when I'm soldering, it means you guys can ask me any question about any topic you like. It doesn't have to be keyboard related. It can be related to anything at all. And as long as it's Twitch safe, I will answer it. So you can ask me now, guys, while we're soldering, anything at all that you'd like. You want to ask me about Star Wars, science fiction. You want to ask me about where my mother grew up. You want to ask me about the cars that I have. You want to ask me about any topic in the world right now. All you have to do is tag me at jprototypist and ask the question. And as long as I'm still soldering, I'll answer the question. So just ask any question you would like, guys. Just tag me with at jprototypist and I will answer those questions. I'm just going to put a couple of blobs of solder on here, just to hold a couple of pins together. Once we've done that, we are going to just check for bent pins afterwards. And then from there, we'll do the full soldering and I'll start answering your questions. So I'm just going to put a couple of switches into solder, one in each corner, and then the one in the middle, just to hold everything together, because I am slightly concerned that it is bowed right now. And then, as I say, guys, you can ask me any question you'd like, and as long as it's Twitch safe and I'm not going to breach any terms of service, I'll answer it. Doesn't matter what it is. Okay, almost done. Then we'll check for bent pins, and then it'll be question time. There we go. Right, let's just check for bent pins really quickly. I think I know that we've got one already. Okay, just going switch by switch, just checking for bent pins, just checking that switches are all fully pressed in as well. There's a couple of switches that just aren't quite pressed in. I think it's due to this bowing issue, so we're just going to make sure that they are pressed in. Okay, so we've got a bent pin here. Whoops. Natural tenting. Yeah, I'll get to questions in a second, guys. Yeah, I am aware of them. I just want to make sure that the board's ready for soldering before we do. Okay. So we've got another one just here. Come on, switch. Come on. Okay, just checking the rest of the board. Another one. This is because the PCB and plate are so slightly off that there's always going to be some bent pins just due to the nature that they're not going in straight. So that's why we fixed these now. And at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to make sure that everything else is pressed in correctly. And the reason we're doing this after we've soldered a couple of switches first is just to make sure that the board retains its orientation and rigidity whilst we go through the process of soldering. Okay, got another bent pin just here. Okay. Nick says, when your armpit itches, do you itch with your middle finger or pointer finger? I just do like that. I'll just do whole hand. I wouldn't do a single finger. I'd just do whole hand. And then last one. There we go. And then we can go into soldering. Yeah, it'd be a whole hand gesture for me with that. It wouldn't be a single finger. Right. Okay. Alana Finley says, okay, what cars do you have? So right now I have a Volkswagen Caddy from 1989. That's a pickup truck. That's a 2-litre turbo diesel. Although as of today, it may be sold. I did put it up for sale on Saturday. Someone came to have a look at it today. They're talking about putting a deposit down tomorrow. And if they do, it'll be sold, which is good. I have 2 other pickup trucks. I have one that is a 1974 Datsun 620, and I also have a 1968 Datsun 521, which is basically a 510 but it turned into a pickup, and a 610 but turned into a pickup. As well as that, I've also got a Peugeot 306 from 1989. Another bent pin there, look. How did we miss those? 2 more bent pins we need to fix. So from 1999, yeah, a Peugeot 306. That's a turbo diesel as well. That's actually sat right at the back of my workshop, surrounded by boxes right now. As well as that, I've also got a Tesla which arrives on the 21st of August, which I'm really excited for. I've got a 1967, Nissan P130, which is what the Cedric, Gloria, and Laurel lines were eventually came off of. I've got a 1976 Datsun S30 Fairlady Z. I've got a nearly new Mazda CX-5, which is just like an everyday car for the week use for the dog. And I've got a Peugeot 107, which was actually the first car that I bought brand new. Not the first car I bought, but the first car I bought brand new. I think that's all of them, I think. Okay, let's fix these 2 more bent pins here. Again, this is where we started to notice issues with the plate, so I'm not surprised that there's bent pins up here. There we go. The subscription is 28 days to the second, so I have to wait the exact time and then resubscribe. Ah, I see. Damn it, I didn't tag you. Yeah, I've already answered that one, Nick. I've already answered that one. Jeremy says, what motivated you to modding your Datsun? I've come across a few of them in my occupation and there's been nothing but trouble and lots of work. Datsuns are actually one of the easiest cars to work on in the world. Like the old Nissan brands, they're so easy to work on. They're dead easy to do. If you look after them, they'll look after you. And the ultra reliable ones, they're up and running. They take a bit to get going sometimes. Parts are not the easiest to find, but they're dead easy to work on. Never have any issues. The engines are bulletproof. They're just good cars, and they have great styling. We don't have styling like that anymore. So yeah, I like JDM stuff, and vintage JDM is just where my heart is. I just really like vintage JDM cars. Okay. There we go. Right, on to the next row. What was your first keyboard you built yourself? Oh man, the first keyboard I built myself. I don't know. I don't know what it was. It might have been like a GH60 type thing. I actually can't remember. I know that the first keyboard that I had that I started modifying by putting keycaps on was a Poker. But I think the first one I actually built might have been a GH60, or it might have even been the very first run of the KBD 75 back in 2015. Could have been that, I guess. I don't know. I can't really remember. It's such a long time ago now. Golden Ratio says, you wake up tomorrow morning and find you can only have one hobby for the rest of your life. Which one do you pick? Cars. Because cars will take me places, like physically, literally. As much as I love keyboards, I would probably pick cars over keyboards. Other people understand my fascination with cars as well. Only other keyboard nerds understand my fascination with keyboards. That's nice. 30. The guy's got taste in cars and keyboards. Yeah, I like cars. Check out the if you Google 1967 Nissan P130, that's a pretty cool car too. And the pickup trucks are pretty cool. They're up on Instagram anyway. You can go see them. How do I become as cool as you guys? Well, you don't want to be cool as me, Tyson. That's the thing. I'm not particularly cool. I'm probably the least cool person in keyboards, if I'm completely honest. I'm no Alex Otos or Heine or anyone else. I'm the least cool person in keyboards. So you probably don't want to look at me as someone who's cool. Did I buy GMK Lavender? Yes, I did. I bought a lot of sets of GMK Lavender. You know I did. You know that for a fact, Nick. You saw exactly how many sets I bought of that. Is that a cheat answer? I don't know. Maybe. Okay, guys, keep the questions coming in because I do enjoy answering them. You can ask me anything you'd like, though. It doesn't have to be about topics we've already covered. It can be about any topic you like, any topic at all. I think I give you a run for your money as the least cool person. Nah, man, you design keyboards. That's pretty cool. I don't do any of that. Are you in for panels? GMK panels? No, I don't think so. I have hand to buy. I do think panels is fun. I think it's really fun, but I don't know if I'll buy a personal set of it. It is really cool and really interesting. I'm just not quite sure if I'm going to buy a set personally or not. Panels is based on the Harlequin VWs. Yeah, you corrected it. Yeah, the Harlequin VWs. Yeah, the polos and the golfs that they made in that colorway, and the Beatles as well. The Beatles were the first, and then they did polos and golfs at the same time, I think. The Golfsman was that headache. Fair. Gasper says he's super excited for the Fuji 75. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you're excited for that. Okay. Just taking it steady here, soldering away. Don't want to rush this. Don't want to get it wrong. Can't forget to do the ISO enter key. There we go. Which in Vogue layouts do I like? 65 plus XT, FRL TKL plus XT, 70%. Do you know what? I'm layout agnostic. I tend to not mind too much on the layout, even if it's sub 60%. It's more about the design and the look and the aesthetic for me, as well as the sound profile and how good the board has the potential to sound too. So I don't think I really have a preference on layout. Like, I used to be pretty much anti TKL, but I have like more TKLs than anything else right now, so I don't think I can say I have a true answer to that without becoming a bit of a hypocrite. I think if I had to pick one layout forever, it would probably be a 60, but I don't know. Like, I might answer that differently if you ask me that again next week. Like, it's just such a difficult one to do. Back into that corner now. You have to design a Harlequin board. Yeah, I see that, James. I can see how there is no way for you to not design that now. You have to do it. 100%, it's got to be done. Next question says from Casper, says, if I'm in the UK and I buy the Fuji 75, I don't pay tax, right? If I buy from prototypers, you'll pay tax. Everyone in the UK, whenever you buy anything in the UK, you pay 20% tax included in the price. You pay VAT. But yes, you will pay VAT when you buy it from me. I'm based in the UK. My website is here in the UK. My workshop that I'm in right now is here in the UK, up in West Yorkshire. You buy from me, it ships from the UK. You won't have to pay separate import duties and import fees, but do bear in mind that VAT is included in the calculation because I legally have to charge you 20% VAT on any product I sell. Right? That's a legal requirement. I have to do that. So please don't mistake the two things because they are very different meanings. Musaroy says social media companies like Facebook have been criticized for allowing misinformation to spread. Yeah, okay. But also for censorship when removing content. Do you think there is a way that you can balance the two? It's a good question. I think everyone has a right to freedom of speech, and I think that freedom of speech is often misunderstood. You have a right to say whatever you'd like, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't upset people by saying it. Like, people are allowed to be upset if you say something that upsets them. Just because you've got the right to say anything you'd like doesn't mean to say that other people can't be offended, upset, happy, glad, sad, whatever emotion you want to put behind what you've said, you have to be able to stand by it when other people come to defend it. Freedom of speech doesn't mean to say that you get a right to say anything you'd like without consequence. It means that you can say what you like, but you have to be able to back yourself up with reasons why and rationales and understanding if you get called out on your bullshit. And I think that that's a really difficult thing to police. It's a really fine line between censorship and allowing free speech, especially when it comes to stuff like COVID and talking about vaccines and things like that. It is really a difficult fine line to follow. I think social media companies have a duty of care to express that anything that you say on their platform is said within their framework of rules, and therefore you have to abide by their rules. I don't think that they should necessarily have to provide an opportunity to free speech on their sites. Free speech means that you have the right to publicize your own views in any way you see fit. Doesn't necessarily mean that a third-party company has to have the ability to give you that platform. So if you posted something on Twitter or Facebook or wherever else, it doesn't mean that they have to allow you that platform. They could quite easily just say, sorry, we don't like your content, you're not allowed to post here anymore, and cancel you out like they did Donald Trump. I don't think that's censorship. I think that's a company standing up for their own ideals. And censorship against free speech would be imprisonment, removing avenues to publicize yourself, so to take away the option to self-publicize, or to silence you directly, which is a very, very different thing. I think companies have a very fine line to tread. So I don't think it's easily policeable, but these companies are massive. They've got huge amounts of resources, and I'm sure they have people far smarter than I am able to tackle that problem. So we'll see how it pans out. You did see the FLX Virgo last week, so different answers for different times. Yeah, I'm going to give you a different answer every week. Like, my thoughts and feelings on which keyboards I'm enjoying and stuff changes all the time. Like, that's different. It's going to be different every single week because it really depends on what I'm using at that particular moment and what I'm enjoying. Okay. James and Jay, how does it feel designing one of the best looking 60s? I don't know which one you mean. James says freedom of speech, not free of consequence. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. I hope that came across. Okay, last few switches now. If anyone's got any last questions that they'd like me to answer, ask now or forever hold your peace, or until next week at least. Of course, I'll still answer keyboard related questions across the course of the stream. Okay. Oh, he means J2. Well, he could have meant the Lodestone. He could have meant all sorts of stuff. Not Lodestone, the Argyle, or all sorts of stuff. I don't know what your question means. How does it feel to have designed a keyboard? I mean, I didn't really do any of the design as such. I don't really do CAD work. I have the ability to, but James tends to pick that up for me because he'd be far faster and more supreme at it. I don't really have an answer for you. Tonic says, how's your back? It's doing better. It's getting better. Slowly but surely it's getting better. I still can't lift anything heavy, but it does feel a lot better. Okay, so there we go. The plate is holding. The whole thing is bent now. It is curved because of the way the switches are set, but it is holding together. It looks like it's going to be okay. This switch here I'm not happy with, just looking at it. I'm going to just heat up the pin whilst I try and reseat this switch a little bit better. This is going to be difficult. Come on. It's better. There we go. Okay, there we go. Right. Time to put it in the keyboard and see how it looks. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we're supposed to use the small screws for this. Let's see. Oh, hang on, wait. We've got flush screws and we've got round head. I think we're going to use the round head screws for this. Let's see how they come out. Let's see what size tool we need here. Surely not. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's 2 screws in. What kind of existential dread do I get? Do you know what wakes me up at 3 o'clock on a Thursday morning? Sometimes the fact that one day I'm not going to be here, like that's the thing. It's like I don't really mind thinking about death and things too much, but like the fact that I'm not going to be here one day, I just can't comprehend it, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's dread as such as it is a lack of comprehension. Like, how do you come to terms with the fact that one day you're not going to be in this world anymore? One day this world's going to keep on turning and you're not going to be in it. It's difficult. Okay, so I can show you how the PCB bows now. If you look here, you can see that the PCB is kind of pretty low down. And it has like a... Come on, focus camera, please. There we go. So it's sat quite low down in the case, but if you look in the corners up here, it's actually touching the corner of the case, so you can see that it gets deeper towards the middle, and that's because it's bowed, and it does it on both sides, so it's kind of like curved like that. Let's see how it goes as we straighten it out. I don't think it's the afterlife, it's the fact that I'm just not going to be here on Earth. It's not about the afterlife, it's not about, you know, what happens to me when I die. It's more of a case of how weird is it that the world's going to still exist when I'm not here. Oh yeah, I think I said this last week on stream, Nick, but I think there's even odds that within 20 years society just crumbles and falls apart and we end up in a post-apocalyptic kind of society. I think there's like a 50-50 chance of that. Like, genuinely, that's what I think. It's 50-50 as to whether we end up with some sort of post-apocalyptic society in the next 20 years, or whether we're actually still able to be a functioning society like we are today. 50-50. Okay, there we go. The plate's all in. Just gonna tweak some of these screws that were tightened before. It doesn't feel like it's necessarily the most robust plate in here because it just does feel a little bit too big for the plate for the case. Okay, anyway, that's that bit done. Now it's time to take the next diffuser. I think the fact that the world will keep turning after me is something I take comfort in rather than being afraid of. It's not I'm afraid of it, it's just like, how weird is it that I'm not going to be here one day? Like, my thoughts are going to cease to exist, my body's going to cease to exist, my being as it is right now isn't going to be here. That's the bit that I find weird. Okay. So I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to pop this piece in here. Nice. And then we're going to lift the base up, and we're going to drop this on top. Oops, trap fingers. We're going to try and align this all up, and then we're going to screw this together. I'm pretty sure that the flush screws are supposed to go at the front. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to drop these screws in the back. And then screw these ones down as well. Smashy says, hi chat and hi Jay. Hey man, good to see you. Wait, why are these screws not going in? What's going on here? Are these just going to take forever to screw in? Is that what it is? Do I need a bigger screwdriver? What's going on here, guys? What's going on? Ah, bigger screwdriver needed. That's fine. Usually I regret getting a McDonald's. I think this is another one of those times. We had McDonald's earlier today actually, which is it's not super rare for us to have a McDonald's, but it's not like super common either. Someday I'll get a Duck Viper and Circo, some crazy colour. I have a couple of Duck Vipers actually. I've got a couple of I think I have a V1 and I have a couple of V2s. Okay, there we go. So that's the board all built and screwed together, apart from the last two screws, which we'll do now. Which I don't think these are long enough. Surely these are not the correct screws here. Oh, no, they tighten in. That's okay. There we go. Okay, so that's the board all screwed together and put together. It looks pretty smart, right? This red's a really good colour. Like, it's a really, really nice colour. I've always loved the sides on these and the rear. And of course we've got this diffuser at the front as well. Before we plug it in though, it's time to pick some keycaps, which means that you guys need to give me help. Let me set up a quick poll and you guys can help me pick some keycaps. I'll set this up and then I'll show you guys the keycaps whilst it's running. Okay. Okay, so let's start the poll going. And you guys can pick which keycap set you would like to see me put on this board. You can pick GMK 9009. You could pick GMK 9s. You could pick a GMK Dolch, or finally you could pick GMK Modern Dolch Light, Modo Light. Those are your 4 choices. Modo Light is absolutely a choice. Do you still have a Prophet? Yeah, I have it. It's up on the shelf, just up there. Hamon. I do have Hamon, but it's on another keyboard right now. 8008, that's on another keyboard right now. Beige or Burgundy. Like, these aren't any choices, guys. The choices are in the poll. Pick out of that, guys. CRP. I could have done CRP. I could have done some OG die subs as well, but I chose not to. Don't want too much red. Yeah, I appreciate that. OG Dolch looks sick. You got to vote for it, man. You got to vote for it. Dolch is winning right now. Dolch is winning. My coffee is really, really cold, so I'm going to put that to one side and have a different drink. I'm just going to zoom in a touch for this next bit as well while we're putting the keycaps on. I'd forgotten how steep duck boards were. I had genuinely forgotten how steep they are. There we go. I genuinely forgotten how steep this is. Like, look at that. It's so steep. Like, it's like, what, 9 degrees? 10 degrees? Maybe even 11 degrees? Like, compared to what I'm using, which is the Frog TKL. Like, look at the difference in angle of these. Look at that. It's hugely different. Okay, about a minute left, guys, and I think Dolch is going to win this by far. So I'm going to get Dolch ready. And I'm going to tip it out because I'm pretty certain that nothing is going to catch Dolch up. Pretty certain. How do I like the frog? I've been using it for the past week. I really, really enjoy using it. So, yeah, it's good. Duck boards are so steep that they turn DSA into a sculpted profile. 100%. Yeah, for sure. I agree. We're going to let it run out. I mean, Modo Light's catching up a little bit. We'll see. What am I printing in the background? I'm printing some stem holders. They're stem tweezers there that are printing just now, nice and neatly. And then I'm printing some switch openers. So there you go. Yeah, the frog is a good board. You're the only person who voted for 9s. Well, GMK Dolch is apparently the winner, so let's put GMK Dolch on. I'm going to try and put the keys that we don't need to one side. Let's see how this comes out. Do need stepped caps because stepped caps is best. I'm not going to use any of the red accents. I think these are going to clash too much. What do you think, guys? Red accents or not? It's red. It's red. That's orange. That's red. What do you think, though? Red accents or not? I think they're going to clash. So I'm going to take the executive decision and say no. No red accents. This is where I find this is an ANSI only set or something, and I can't actually put this on the board. Wait, is that what's going to happen here? Oh no, there's ANSI signs. I was really worried then, just for a split second, that I wasn't going to find the ISO enter key. No, just a red escape. I don't think the red's going to match, dude. Like, the red just doesn't look good. It just doesn't match. It's just... Oh, do you know what? Actually, in real life, it's actually not far off. Maybe we'll keep the red escape. Okay, Nig, you win just for this one. We'll keep the red escape. We'll keep the red escape. Is it as good as the F1 or is it just a top one? I think it's different to the F1. I don't know if I'd say it's as good as or worse than the F1. I think it's just a different board. Does that make sense? I think it's just a different board for me. I don't think it's necessarily has to be as good as or worse than or better than. I think those are bits of misnomers in this hobby. I think it's just a different board and it has a different appeal to me, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? Am I explaining that in a fair way? Wait, does this set have ISO in it? If this has UK ISO, that's not needed. It does have UK ISO. Starting to look like a keyboard now. I'm gonna go for the barred caps today. I'd usually go scoops, but we're gonna go for the barred caps. I think there's UK ISO 3 here, so we don't need to use that just yet. Do I own any ISO enter artisan keys? Yeah, I have a couple actually. I have a couple. I have some that are SA ISO enter keys, and they've got coins embedded in them, and a few others as well. When is the trades group by going live? Next couple of weeks, hopefully. Next couple of weeks. Trays are very, very, very soon. Those keycaps are glorious. Thank you very much, man. These are OG Dolch keycaps. This is from a very, very early run of GMK Dolch. There's the UK ISO 3. Nick, UK ISO 3. He's gonna go silent on me now. God damn it. Like the biggest thing that I had, biggest feedback about Lavender when we were running that together was that the UK ISO had been there and then it was taken out. I think I got like 60 emails about it. Hold on, we've got that in the wrong place. Do I have a keycap puller? No, why do I not have a keycap puller to hand? Let's use this. IC extractor will do as a makeshift keycap puller for a second. There we go. Like legit, it was the biggest complaint that I got. It happens with every set. Like if it has UK IC in it at some point and then it doesn't when it comes to group buy, I get complaints. Like people don't like that to happen. I wish this had Bro 5. Is there a version of Dolch out there that has row 5? I can't think. I can't remember one, but I could be wrong. Let me know in the chat, guys, if there's a version of Dolch that has row 5. And we've put another cap in the wrong place here. Oh no. Can we use this? Do we think this is going to work? Let's take the end key out first. That actually works surprisingly well as a keycap puller. I am me, you are you. Thank you so much for the raid, man. Welcome, guys. We are in the middle of building a Duck Orion keyboard. We're just about at the tail end of putting the keycaps on. And then we're going to do a little bit of a sound test in a few minutes and see how it is. Thank you very much for being here. There was a recent Dolch R5 group buy, was there? Did I miss that? Can I explain the difference between UK ISO and other ISO? Yes, of course. UK ISO has a few different keys. So ISO as a whole has the ISO enter, the key that sits here, a 1U row 3 1 key, and then it also has the 2 keys here, so it splits left shift. Those are the core components of ISO itself. So you have a shift, a key there, the ISO, and then the key here. That's what you need to support ISO as a layout. Those 4 keys as a minimum. Doesn't matter what legends you have on them. Those 4 keys are what you need. UK ISO has pipe down here, and then it also has an additional key here, which is the @ key. The @ key moves from the 2 over to here, and the quote mark moves up to the 2. So that's also UK ISO. So UK ISO includes the end key, the hash tilde key, the @ apostrophe key, the shift and pipe key, and it also includes the 2 quote, the 3 pound key as well. Now there's also another key that goes up here, which you haven't found yet, which is which I'll show you. I can't remember the title of the key, but it does exist. If it's in this set, here it is. So you also have that key as well, which is a backtick key. That's what makes up UK ISO. So it's UK ISO specific language support. Now I know that there isn't a backtick key in the mod color, which is why we've gone for the ANSI mod colored one there. Tiny Shiny Crumb, thanks very much for being here. Uncool Dude as well. Hey Jay, hey man, good to see you. Bitter Seeds, I'm Me's here as well. Love you, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Otherwise known as US ISO or terminal ISO. So US ISO is different. US ISO has a pipe key here, the ISO enter, and a full 2U left shift, 2.25U left shift. So full size left shift. So that's US ISO. Terminal ISO has the pipe key here, the ISO enter, then it has the dual chevron, so it has that chevron and that chevron here, and the split left shift. So that's the difference. So US ISO and terminal ISO are very different. And UK ISOs are different again. And then of course you've got German ISO and all of the other different ISO variants that exist across all of the European languages and everywhere else. So there's a lot of complexity in it. I hope that all makes sense. Okay, just need 2 more keys now, and then we're done. That's one of them. And that's the other. There we go. So that's the keyboard all put together, guys. GMK Dolch. I think this is round 1 Dolch. I think it is round 1 Dolch. On the Duck Orion. I think this is a V3 Orion. It's one that's just shipped in red with tangerine switches. Write that down. Write that down. Backtick. Jagmit is clearly using an ISO keyboard. Superior layout. ISO enter is superior. I wish UK ISO didn't swap the @ and the two. Yeah, the @ and the quote marks. Yeah, that makes sense. Feels like a pointless change. I think the reason we did it is to have another modifier in this area here because it keeps the 2 key standardized across all of the ISO layouts, and you have a punctuation key that's used here more often depending on the language that you're using. I think that's why it was done. Just stick to UK or US ISO and it's good enough. Yeah, I mean, maybe. The red ISO enter. There is no red ISO enter. They only did. This is another bone of contention with ISO users. They only did the red ANSI enter key for this set. They did not do a red ISO key enter in this round of it. They only did the accent key in ANSI. Yeah, Portuguese and other ones have different things. Yeah, that's why we need Nordic kits. So Nordic is very separate to ISO coverage. So when you're talking about Nordic kits, you have different keys all over. For example, German has the M mu key, so it has the mu symbol underneath here, and it has the at key on the at symbol on the Q. You also have different versions where you have an at symbol on the 4 and a few other bits and pieces as well. So there's a load of different things across all of the languages across Europe that have different versions of ISO. I do dabble in ANSI. I have some keyboards that can only be built in ANSI. So yeah, they have to be ANSI, but I prefer ISO. If the board I'm building supports ISO, I'll generally support the ISO layout on it as a rule of thumb, and I will only build a board ANSI if it doesn't support any other layout. That's usually the rule I follow. Take the red accent off. If I can grab it, I will. There we go. You want to see the dark escape on this? Okay. Sorry, Nick. Let's call that a punishment for you removing UK ISO from GMK Lavender. There we go. So there we go, guys. This is the Duck Orion with GMK Dolch. It's a little bit shiny. This is quite heavily used, this Dolch. There we go. Should we see what it looks like with the lights on? Because this does have lights and LEDs in it, of course. Is my cable going to reach? Alright, setting up there. There we go. There you go. Now we see we've got the rainbow glow on the front bar as well. I'm not usually one for LEDs, but you know what? Hey, on a duck board, it looks kind of cool, right? I wonder if I turn the lights off, if we can see the glow underneath the front. I wonder if let me turn the stream lights off and see what it looks like. There you go. You kind of do get this edge under here lit up. That's kind of cool. I think if I could just have this edge and get rid of the rest, that'd be even cooler. Oh, bright. There we go. Just joined, but I agree, says Zizora. Thanks very much for being here. Look at the shine to it. It's a good kind of shine. It's the used kind of shine, right? The shine of love. Just turn the lights off. That's what you always say to me, Nick. I might start getting upset if you keep saying that. So there we go. That is the board all built. Should we do a bit of a sound test? See how it sounds? I'm not going to turn the lights off for this, but let's do a little sound test. See how it sounds. Wrist check. Wrists. Wrist check. Not sure what you mean. Like it's quite high at the front. Yeah, sure, if that's what you mean. But it's not the highest board. It is steep, because it's a duck board. But I think it'll be fine. Let's and you know what? I'm going to unplug this because I don't like doing typing tests with boards plugged in. Because I've done it before and then ended up setting up things going that shouldn't have been running. So let's see how it sounds. The watch. Oh, the watch is a this is a 1971 by a company called About Vintage. I think it's about €900 or something like that. It's not an expensive watch. Okay, let's see what this shit sounds like. I think the board's just loud where the space bar is, Tyson. That's all it is. There's no rattle coming off of it, but I think the board sounds alright. It sounds like a good solid top mount board. It doesn't sound bad. These are completely stock switches. They're tangerines. I think it sounds pretty good. Backspace has got a little bit of rattle. I can hear that. Listen. I need to tweak that. Yeah, the space bar's no rattle. So yeah, I think it's a good board. I think it's a good build. I'm pretty happy with how that's come out. Let me know your thoughts in chat, guys. Let me know what you think to it. While you do that, guys, I am going to see if there's anyone online who we can raid, because we are coming up to the end of the stream now. If you guys have got any suggestions on who to raid, let me know. Let's have a look, see who's making and crafting. Let's see who's live. Unreal Keyboards is live. Disastertron's live. Mole Ceramics is live. Mole, we've raided Mole before. Mole's really cool. She makes ceramic pots. Let's raid Unreal Keyboards, I think. What do I think of ISO HHKB? Yeah, I've used it a few times. Yeah, I genuinely really enjoy. Wait. Why is that doing that? Why is that doing that? I don't know. It's doing weird things as Twitch. Let's raid Unreal Keyboards. I'm gonna set the raid going, and then we're gonna close down the stream. Oh wait, what? Why is it not letting me do that? It won't let me follow him. Okay. Do you know what? We're gonna raid. We're gonna raid Puade instead. We're gonna raid Puade. Oh wait, someone's first stream. Taco K's. Let me copy that. Let me do that. Yeah. Let me do that. Let me raid him. Let me follow him and raid him. Yeah, that sounds good. He's got a lot of viewers for his first stream. He's got a ton of viewers. Right, let me see if it will now let me raid him. Okay, let's go give him a raid. Thank you very much for being here, guys. I really appreciate you all being here. I hope you enjoyed the build. I'm going to start the raid now, and yeah, come back next week. I'm going to do some workshop streams as well during the week. We're going to build a sign for this wall, and we're going to do a few other little bits and pieces as well. Let's go and see. So come back and check out those streams. Let's go and raid Takeo, and see what he's building, what he's up to, and I hope he has a great time, and wish him all the best with this stream as well. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, Jay, what's up, man? I love seeing your cars.